Ever since I was a little girl, my mother taught me one golden rule. Date bad boys for the thrill, but marry a boring man for stability. I lived by that belief. And in New York City, I found the ultimate bad boy. His name was Landon Pierce. He was a notorious heartbreaker. The kind of man who could look at a woman and say, out of all of them, you're the one I care about most, and somehow make her believe it. And me? I wasn't innocent either. I was the queen of mixed signals. A master of emotional chess wrapped in silk dresses and soft smiles. My favorite line was simple. I can't sleep because I'm not sleeping next to you. People said we were the perfect toxic couple. They weren't wrong. We weren't built on trust. We were built on tension, on jealousy, on the thrill of almost losing each other. But a month ago, everything changed. My mother was diagnosed with early-stage lung cancer. Standing in those sterile hospital hallways, watching her try to act strong while fear sat quietly in her eyes, something inside me shifted. For the first time in my life, stability didn't sound boring. It sounded necessary. So I decided I was going to leave Landon. What I didn't realize is that walking away from a game you're winning isn't nearly as easy as it sounds. Landon hates answering his phone, but finding him, that's easy. He practically owns a private section at Obsidian, an upscale lounge in Manhattan. Out of 365 days a year, he's probably there 360. And tonight was no exception. When I walked in, I saw him immediately. Tall, effortless, impossible to ignore. He had just lost a round of cards and was taking a shot off the body of a girl leaning across the table. She laughed too loudly, like she already thought she'd won something. She noticed me approaching and gave me a syrupy smile. Hey, she said sweetly. You don't mind, right? We're just playing. I smiled back, matching her tone perfectly. Of course not. You're adorable. Honestly, why don't you just move into our penthouse? We have plenty of space. Her smile twitched. She rolled her eyes and turned back to the table. I shifted my gaze to Landon, and right on cue, my eyes filled with tears. Clean. Controlled. Does he hate me? I said softly, just loud enough for the table to hear. Maybe I should just go home. It's pouring outside and I didn't even bring an umbrella. I looked toward a broad-shouldered college-looking guy sitting nearby. Maybe he could walk me out. Landon's eyes darkened instantly. He scanned the guy from head to toe with a slow, territorial stare. The poor guy lifted both hands. Whoa, don't drag me into this. Everybody knows Landon's obsessed with you, Harper. The mood shifted. Landon downed the rest of his drink, gently pushed the other girl aside and stood up. I'm heading out, he announced casually. My girl's jealous. Gotta take her home and fix it. Drinks are on me tonight. Cheers exploded around us. He pulled me into his arms like he'd just won something. I didn't resist. In the car, the city lights flashed across his face as he kept glancing at me. Are you actually mad? He asked. You know I was just messing around. There it was. Out of all of them, you're the one I care about most. He said it softer this time, almost convincing. If I wasn't so shallow, if I wasn't so addicted to his face, I would have left years ago. He leaned closer, brushing his lips near my ear. What perfume is that? He murmured. Vanilla? You smell insane. I swear you drive me crazy. Landon, I said, cutting through his tone. I want to break up. He paused, then smiled slowly. What role play is this? CEO and rebellious assistant? Stranger on a plane? I'm serious. My face didn't move. His smile faded. He leaned back in his seat, flipping his lighter open and closed. Calm. Irritatingly calm. All right, he said finally. Give me one reason that actually makes sense. There are too many women. Have any of them ever shown up at our door? Have you ever caught me in bed with one? I hesitated. Technically, no. I didn't have proof. I want to get married, I said instead. I expected panic, a laugh, a refusal. Instead, he shrugged. Pick a date. We'll go to City Hall. Like marriage was just paperwork. Like vows didn't mean anything. My mom wants me to find someone reliable, I added quietly. He tossed the lighter onto the dashboard and smirked. Then let's go ask her which part of me isn't reliable. She just got out of surgery. Don't stress her. He pulled me closer again, kissing my cheek. I'm joking, he said. You're just bored? That night, his phone buzzed on the nightstand. I glanced at the screen. Elena, the one everyone said he never got over. Your phone, I said. He walked out of the bathroom with a towel around his waist, water still tracing down his chest. Hello? Pause. Tonight? Yeah, I'll come get you. He hung up and leaned down to kiss my forehead. Something came up. Be good. Go to sleep. It was 1 a.m. A man who leaves after a late-night call from his ex. That was it. My chance. As soon as his car pulled out of the garage, I grabbed my keys and followed him. He drove to a hotel downtown. I waited an hour before knocking on the door of the room he entered. The door opened. A girl in a simple white dress, hair in a loose braid. She looked almost innocent. Elena, I said. I lifted my phone and started recording. Are you crazy? She whispered. Landon stepped out of the bathroom, fully dressed, not a wrinkle in his shirt. That didn't make sense. Delete that, he snapped. Now. He reached for my phone. I pressed it against my chest. You said I needed proof to leave you. This isn't proof of anything. It's the middle of the night. You didn't come here just to say hello. Elena's eyes filled with tears, soft, fragile. I almost laughed. I was the girlfriend. I was supposed to cry. She grabbed his sleeve. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to cause problems. I widened my eyes. Landon, yell at me if you want. Just tell me one thing. Between her and me, who do you love more? He grabbed my waist and leaned close to my ear. Stop the drama. Delete the video. Panic, not guilt. You're choosing her, I said quietly. Go home, Harper. I actually have something important to handle. There it was. I deleted the video right in front of him. Then I walked away. That same night, I moved back into my own apartment. My chest felt tight the entire drive home. Maybe after hearing, you're the one I care about most 100 times, I started believing it. But tonight proved something. He either loved her, or he respected her more. And I wasn't sure which one hurt worse. The breakup didn't explode. It settled. Quiet, sharp, heavy. And the strangest part? My mother was thrilled. The morning after I left Landon, she dragged me to an elite matchmaking agency in Midtown like it was an emergency. Ms. Hayes, the woman at the desk said smoothly, we offer the silver package, the gold package. Give my daughter the platinum executive package. My mother interrupted. Mom, I whispered, embarrassed. You need that money. She squeezed my hand. Her grip was weaker than it used to be. At my age, I've seen enough, she said. Your future matters more than my lungs. I hated when she said things like that. The matchmaker smiled like she'd just closed a sale. She handed me a thick folder. These are exceptional men.
Harper stared at the folder on her lap. Page after page of men with polished resumes, perfect smiles, and lives so stable they looked manufactured. A hedge fund manager, a surgeon, a tech founder, a man who owned 3 apartment buildings and spent weekends volunteering with rescue dogs. Every profile felt like a job application. Her mother flipped through them eagerly. "This one," she said, tapping a photo. "He looks dependable." "He looks asleep," Harper muttered. The matchmaker laughed politely. "That's usually what dependable looks like." 3 weeks later, Harper sat through her 5th matchmaking date. The man across from her was kind, thoughtful, completely incapable of making her heart beat faster than resting speed. "So, what do you do for fun?" he asked. "I make bad decisions." He smiled uncertainly. "I like crossword puzzles." "Exactly." That night, Harper walked home through Manhattan feeling exhausted. Maybe her mother had been right. Maybe excitement and stability couldn't exist in the same person. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She ignored it. It rang again. Then again. Finally she answered. "What?" Silence. Then a familiar voice. "You went on another date." Harper stopped walking. "Landon, you went on another date. You called from an unknown number to ask me that? You blocked my real one." She pinched the bridge of her nose. "What do you want?" "I want to know why the guy was wearing boat shoes." "What?" Nobody trusts the man who wears boat shoes in Manhattan. Despite herself, Harper almost smiled. Almost. "Landon, we're not doing this." "Then tell me where you are." "No. I'm outside your apartment." Harper's stomach dropped. She looked up. Across the street, leaning against a black SUV, stood Landon Pierce. Like he'd been there for hours. Waiting. The moment their eyes met, he straightened. She crossed her arms. "You've officially become creepy. I've officially become desperate." That shut her up. Landon never admitted weakness. Not to anyone. He walked toward her slowly. For the first time since she'd met him, he looked tired. Actually tired. Not hungover. Not annoyed. Tired. "You broke up with me," he said quietly. "Yes." "You moved out." "Yes." "You blocked me." "Yes." "You went on dates with men whose favorite hobby is probably filing taxes." Harper rolled her eyes. "Landon." "No, let me finish." Something in his voice made her stop. For months, maybe years, she'd imagined what would happen if they ever reached this point. She expected manipulation, charm, a performance. Instead, he looked scared. "I thought you'd come back." He laughed once. Without humor. "Every fight we've ever had ended with you coming back." Harper looked away. "Not this time." "I know." The words landed heavily between them. For a long moment neither spoke. Then Landon reached into his jacket pocket. Harper immediately tensed. He pulled out a folded photograph. Not a ring. Not a grand gesture. Just a photograph. He handed it to her. It was old. A little bent. She frowned. "What is this?" "The first picture I ever took of you." Harper blinked. The image showed her sitting on a fire escape years ago, laughing at something off camera. She hadn't even known he'd taken it. "You kept this?" "I keep all of them." Her chest tightened. "Landon." "I didn't go to that hotel for Elena." Harper's expression hardened immediately. "Oh, we're still pretending?" "No." His voice was firm. "Her little brother overdosed." Harper froze. Landon continued. "He's been clean for almost a year. That night he disappeared. Elena called everyone she knew. I helped find him." "What?" "I didn't tell you because it wasn't my story to tell." Harper searched his face. For once, she couldn't find the lie. Couldn't find the angle. "Then why didn't you explain that night?" "Because you didn't trust me." The answer came instantly. Painfully. "And because I was angry." His jaw tightened. "You asked me who I loved more." Harper looked down. "You couldn't even imagine the possibility that it was you." The city noise seemed to disappear. Suddenly all she could hear was her own heartbeat. Landon took a breath. "I've spent years acting like nothing matters." A humorless smile crossed his face. "Women. Parties. Games. Whatever." His eyes met hers. "But when your mom got sick." His voice cracked slightly. "The smallest amount." "I realized I was terrified." Harper stared. Terrified of what? Of losing you. For the first time in her life, Landon Pierce looked completely honest. No charm. No performance. Just truth. I don't know how to be stable, he admitted. I don't know how to be the kind of man your mother wants. Harper's eyes began to sting. But I know I love you. He laughed softly. And honestly, that's probably the most embarrassing thing I've ever said. A tear slipped down her cheek. Landon immediately reached for it, then stopped himself, waiting for permission. The gesture somehow hurt more than anything else, because old Landon never waited. Old Landon just took. Harper looked at him for a long time, then asked quietly, "Why didn't you say that years ago?" His smile was sad. "Because I thought if I said it out loud, you'd realize you had all the power." She laughed through her tears. "Idiot. I know." Another silence. Then Harper stepped closer. "Not all the way. Just enough. You're still a disaster. Working on it. You're still reckless. Working on that too. You still flirt with everyone." "Actually, no." He pulled out his phone, opened social media, and showed her. Every female contact. Deleted. Every dating app. Gone. Every number she used to hate. Blocked. Harper blinked. "When did you do that?" "The day you left." Her breath caught. Landon smiled. "I told you. You never tell me anything." "Fair point." For the first time in months, Harper laughed. A real laugh. The kind that made her shoulders shake. Landon stared at her like he'd forgotten how. Then, very carefully, he reached for her hand. This time she let him. 6 months later, Harper's mother stood in a small garden behind a private event venue. Healthy. Cancer-free. Crying harder than anyone else. "Mom," Harper whispered. "Stop crying." "I'm not crying," her mother lied. "You've been crying for 20 minutes. It's allergies. You've said that 7 times. At the altar, Landon adjusted his tie nervously. A sight nobody thought they'd ever witness. When Harper reached him, he leaned down and whispered, "Still think I'm unreliable?" She smiled. "A little." "Fair." The officiant began the ceremony. And for the first time in their lives, neither Harper nor Landon felt the need to play games. No jealousy. No tests. No emotional chess. Just honesty. Simple. Terrifying. Wonderful honesty. Years later, Harper would tell people that her mother had been half right. Bad boys were exciting. Boring men were stable. But every once in a while, if fate was feeling generous, a bad boy grew up. And when that happened, he became something much rarer than either. He became the man worth keeping. Epilogue. On their 5th wedding anniversary, Harper found an old photograph tucked inside Landon's desk. The same picture from the fire escape. On the back, in his messy handwriting, were words he'd written years before. "Out of all of them, you're the one I care about most." Below it, added much later, was a second line. Correction. "You're the only one."